Is a 12-hour fast actually doing anything for your body? Or is it just a starting point before the real benefits begin? This is one of the most common questions people ask when they start learning about intermittent fasting. You hear about 16, 8. You hear about 24-hour fasts. You hear about all these different protocols. And somewhere along the way, you start wondering whether your 12-hour overnight fast is even worth the effort. Today, we are going to answer that question with science. We are going to walk through exactly what happens inside your body at each stage of fasting from the moment you finish your last meal all the way to 24 hours and beyond. We will examine the physiological changes occurring at each milestone, look at what the research actually shows, and give you a clear evidence-based guide to optimizing your fasting approach for energy and metabolic health. By the end of this video, you will understand precisely what benefits you are unlocking at 12 hours, what additional benefits appear at 14 and 16 hours, and what happens when you push even further. Before we begin, this is educational content, not medical advice. If you have any health conditions or concerns, please talk to your doctor before starting any fasting protocol. Now let us start the journey. The first few hours after you eat are pretty straightforward. Your body is in digestion mode. Your stomach and intestines are working to break down the food you just consumed. Your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that helps move glucose from your blood into your cells where it can be used for energy. During this phase, which lasts roughly 4 hours after eating, your body is focused entirely on processing that meal. Blood sugar rises as nutrients are absorbed and insulin works to manage those levels. Proteins are broken down into amino acids. Fats are broken down into fatty acids. Carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. All of these nutrients enter your bloodstream and get distributed to cells throughout your body. This is completely normal. This is what your body is designed to do. But here is something many people do not think about. If you eat dinner at 8 p.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m., your body is still actively digesting when you fall asleep. Your digestive system does not get to rest. This can affect sleep quality because your body is doing two jobs at once, trying to digest food and trying to repair itself during sleep. Many people who struggle with sleep quality find that simply finishing their last meal earlier in the evening makes a noticeable difference. After about 4 hours, things start to shift. Between hours 4 and 8, digestion winds down. Your body has processed most of the meal, and now it needs to maintain energy from somewhere else. This is where your liver comes in. Your liver stores glucose in a form called glycogen. Think of glycogen as your body's first backup energy supply. It is glucose molecules linked together and stored for later use. The average liver holds about 100 grams of glycogen, which translates to roughly 400 calories of stored energy. Your muscles also store glycogen, but that glycogen is used locally by the muscles and cannot be released into the bloodstream like liver glycogen can. When you stop eating and blood glucose starts to drop, your liver begins releasing this stored glycogen to keep your blood sugar stable. This process is called glycogenolysis. Your liver breaks down glycogen back into glucose and releases it into your bloodstream to maintain energy supply for your brain and other organs. At the same time, insulin levels start to decline. This is a crucial shift. When insulin is high, your body is in storage mode. Fat stays locked inside fat cells because insulin signals the body to store energy rather than release it. But as insulin drops, your body gradually shifts out of storage mode and prepares to access other energy sources. Something else important happens during this window. Your gut activates a cleaning mechanism called the migrating motor complex, or MMC for short. The MMC is a series of powerful muscle contractions that sweep through your stomach and small intestine when you are not eating. Each complete cycle takes about 90 to 120 minutes. These contractions move in waves from your stomach through your entire small intestine, pushing bacteria, leftover food particles, and cellular debris toward your large intestine. Here is the critical point. The MMC only works when you are not eating. The moment you consume anything with calories, even a small snack or a sweetened beverage, the MMC stops immediately. It resets and has to start the cycle all over again. This is one of the reasons why constant snacking throughout the day can cause digestive issues. If you eat every 2 or 3 hours, your MMC never gets a chance to complete its cleaning cycles. Bacteria can accumulate in places they should not be, potentially leading to problems like bloating gas, or even a condition called small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, which is often referred to as SIBO. Research has shown that people with SIBO and irritable bowel syndrome have significantly fewer and weaker MMC cycles compared to people without these conditions. So even before we reach the 12-hour mark, your body is already doing important work. Your liver is managing energy through glycogen release. Your insulin is dropping, shifting you out of storage mode. And your gut is getting a chance to clean itself through multiple MMC cycles. Now let us talk about the 8 to 12-hour window, because this is where the main question of our video becomes relevant. By 8 to 12 hours of fasting, several things have happened. Your liver glycogen stores have dropped by roughly 50 to 70%, depending on your activity level and what you ate before. Insulin has fallen to a low, stable baseline level. Your gut has completed multiple MMC cleaning cycles, typically 4 to 6 full cycles by this point. And your body is preparing for the next major transition. So is 12 hours worth it? Let us break this down. Honestly, if you were previously eating for 16 hours a day, which is common for most people who eat from breakfast until a late night snack, then a 12-hour fast gives your body 4 extra hours of rest compared to before. That is 4 additional hours for your gut to clean itself. That is 4 hours of lower insulin levels. That is 4 hours where your body is not in active digestion and storage mode. At 12 hours, you have achieved meaningful gut rest. You have allowed your MMC to complete several full cycles. And you have brought insulin down to baseline, which means your body is no longer actively storing energy and is beginning to shift toward using stored energy instead. However, and this is important to understand, at the 12-hour mark, most people have not fully entered fat-burning mode. Glycogen stores are significantly depleted, but not empty. Ketone production, which happens when your body converts fat into an alternative fuel, has not ramped up significantly yet. And autophagy, the cellular cleaning process that many people are interested in, has likely not started or is only beginning at very low levels. So here is the honest answer. A 12-hour fast has real value, especially for gut health and for people transitioning away from constant eating. But if your goal is more efficient fat burning or activating deeper cellular benefits, you will likely need to go a bit further. To understand why timing matters so much, let us look at a fascinating study that changed how researchers think about fasting. In 2012, Dr. Sachin Panda and his research team at the Salk Institute in California conducted a simple but groundbreaking experiment. They divided mice into 2 groups. Both groups ate the exact same food, a high-fat diet equivalent to humans eating pizza, ice cream, and fried food every day. Both groups consumed the exact same number of calories. The researchers controlled this carefully to make sure total energy intake was identical. The only difference was timing. The first group could eat whenever they wanted, 24 hours a day, grazing freely throughout the day and night. The second group could only eat within an 8 to 12-hour window each day, with the remaining hours spent fasting. The results surprised even the researchers. The group that ate within the restricted time window had 70% less body fat than the group that ate freely throughout the day. They also had better blood sugar control, healthier livers with less fat accumulation, and lower levels of inflammation throughout their bodies. Same food, same calories, completely different outcomes. This study, published in the journal Cell Metabolism, demonstrated something important. When you eat may be just as important as what you eat. The fasting window between meals, whether it is 12, 14, or 16 hours, creates real differences in how your body processes food and stores energy. This research sparked an entire field of study into time-restricted eating and has since been replicated and expanded upon in numerous follow-up studies. So what happens if we go beyond 12 hours, between 12 and 16 hours? You enter what many researchers call the metabolic switch. This is the point where your body transitions from primarily burning glucose to primarily burning fat for fuel. By now, your liver glycogen is largely depleted. Your body needs fuel, but there is not much glucose left to use. So your liver starts doing something remarkable. It begins converting fatty acids from your fat stores into molecules called ketones. Ketones are an alternative fuel source that most cells in your body can use, including your brain. In fact, your brain runs quite efficiently on ketones. Many people think ketones are only relevant for people following a ketogenic diet. But the truth is, ketone production is a normal part of human physiology that has been happening in humans for hundreds of thousands of years. Whenever you fast long enough to deplete your glycogen stores, your body will naturally produce ketones. This is how our ancestors survived periods between successful hunts. Ketones have some interesting properties. They provide more stable energy than glucose, which means fewer energy crashes throughout the day. They can reduce feelings of hunger, which is why many people report that hunger actually decreases after fasting for 16 hours or more. And research suggests they may improve mental clarity and focus. The brain seems to function well on ketone fuel, possibly because ketones provide a more consistent energy supply than the fluctuating glucose levels that come from frequent eating. This metabolic switch typically happens somewhere between 12 and 36 hours after your last meal, depending on several individual factors. How much glycogen you had stored before fasting matters significantly. Your activity level during the fast matters because exercise depletes glycogen faster. And your previous diet also plays a role. Someone who already eats a low-carbohydrate diet will have smaller glycogen stores and will enter ketosis faster than someone who eats a high-carbohydrate diet. For most people eating a standard diet, the 14 to 16-hour window is where they start to feel this transition happening. Energy levels stabilize. Hunger often decreases rather than increases, which surprises many people. And there is sometimes a noticeable improvement in mental clarity and focus. Growth hormone also starts to rise during this period. We will talk more about that in a moment because the research on this is quite remarkable. Now let us look at what happens between 16 and 24 hours. This is what we might call the deep benefits zone. At this point, ketosis is well established for most people. Your body is efficiently burning fat for fuel. Ketone levels in the blood are elevated, typically reaching 0.5 to 2 millimoles per liter. And several other important processes are ramping up. One of these processes is autophagy. The word autophagy comes from Greek and literally means self-eating. It sounds dramatic, but it is actually a highly beneficial cellular cleaning process. Here is how it works. When your body is not receiving new nutrients from food, your cells start looking for internal sources of raw materials. They identify damaged proteins, malfunctioning organelles, and cellular debris. Then they break down these damaged components and recycle the parts into usable building blocks for new cellular structures. Think of autophagy as your cells doing a deep cleaning and recycling what they can. Old or damaged mitochondria get cleared out. Misfolded proteins that could cause problems get broken down. Cellular components that are no longer functioning properly get recycled. This process helps maintain cellular health and may play a role in longevity and disease prevention. In fact, the 2016 Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to a researcher who discovered key mechanisms of autophagy. One important note about autophagy timing. The exact point when autophagy begins varies significantly between individuals. Some studies show markers of autophagy appearing after 24 hours of fasting. Others suggest it may take 48 hours or longer to reach significant levels. There is no single number that applies to everyone. What we do know is that autophagy is stimulated by nutrient deprivation and that the longer you fast, the more autophagy activity tends to increase. But the specific timeline depends on your individual metabolism, your previous diet, and other factors unique to you. Growth hormone also increases significantly during extended fasting, and the research on this is quite striking. A study from the Intermountain Medical Center Heart Institute measured what happens to human growth hormone during a 24-hour water-only fast. The results showed that growth hormone increased by an average of 1,300% in women and nearly 2,000% in men. Growth hormone increased more than tenfold in women and nearly 20-fold in men after just one day of fasting. What makes this finding even more interesting is that this increase was not correlated with weight loss. The growth hormone surge happened independently of any changes in body weight. You do not need to lose weight to experience this benefit. It happens simply because you are fasting. Why does this matter? Growth hormone serves several important functions in the body. It helps preserve lean muscle mass. It promotes fat burning by mobilizing fatty acids from fat cells. And it supports tissue repair and recovery throughout the body. This is one of the reasons why fasting does not cause the muscle loss that many people fear. In fact, the surge in growth hormone during fasting actively protects muscle tissue while promoting fat breakdown. Your body becomes better at burning fat while preserving muscle. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes perfect sense. Our ancestors did not have refrigerators or grocery stores. They frequently went through periods without food, sometimes for days. If the body lost muscle every time food was scarce, they would not have had the strength to hunt when food became available again. Instead, the body evolved to protect muscle and burn fat during times of scarcity. Growth hormone is part of that protective mechanism. Of course, a 24-hour fast is not for everyone and should not be done frequently without proper preparation. If you are new to fasting, 12 to 16 hours is a good place to start and build your experience. And as always, listen to your body and respond to its signals. Now let us put all of this together. We have walked through the entire journey from the first hour after your last meal to 24 hours of fasting, from digestion to ketosis, from MMC gut cleaning to autophagy. Let us summarize what you are unlocking at each stage. At 12 hours, you achieve meaningful gut rest. Your MMC has completed multiple cleaning cycles, typically 4 to 6 full sweeps of your small intestine. Insulin has dropped to baseline, shifting your body out of storage mode. This is a solid foundation, especially if you were previously eating constantly throughout the day. For gut health, for breaking the habit of constant snacking, and for giving your digestive system a proper rest, 12 hours provides real measurable benefits. At 14 to 16 hours, you enter the metabolic switch zone. Glycogen is largely depleted. Ketone production ramps up as your liver converts fat into fuel. Fat burning accelerates significantly. Growth hormone begins to rise. This is where most people start to notice differences in energy levels and mental clarity. If your goal is more efficient, fat burning, this 14 to 16 hour range is the sweet spot for daily intermittent fasting. At 18 to 24 hours, you are in the deep benefits zone. Ketosis is well established. Growth hormone surges dramatically with increases of over 1,000% documented in research. Autophagy activity increases, helping your cells clean out damaged components. Insulin sensitivity continues to improve. This zone is for more experienced fasters who want to maximize cellular and hormonal benefits. It should not be done daily, but can be incorporated occasionally, perhaps once a week or a few times per month. So is 12 hours enough? The answer depends on your goals and your current situation. If your goal is to improve gut health, reduce constant snacking, and start building a consistent fasting habit, then yes, 12 hours is a great starting point. You are getting real benefits that will make a difference over time. If your goal is more efficient fat burning and you want to take advantage of ketone production and increased fat oxidation, then 14 to 16 hours will give you better results. This is where the metabolic switch happens for most people. If your goal is to maximize autophagy and growth hormone benefits for cellular health and longevity, then occasional longer fasts of 18 to 24 hours might be something to explore. But with proper preparation and experience, and by always listening to your body, the most important point is this: there is no single perfect fasting window for everyone. Your body is different from someone else's body. Your previous diet, your activity level, your age, your metabolic health, and your individual genetics all influence how your body responds to fasting. What works perfectly for one person may not be optimal for another. Start where you are comfortable. Build gradually. Pay attention to how your body responds and adjust based on your goals and what you learn about yourself. Before we wrap up, a quick but important note about safety. Fasting is not for everyone. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, if you have a history of eating disorders, if you take medications that require food, if you are underweight, or if you have medical conditions like insulin, dependent diabetes, please talk to your doctor before starting any fasting protocol. And for everyone, regardless of your health status, listen to your body. If you experience severe dizziness that does not improve when you sit down, if you feel your heart racing or pounding, if you experience extreme weakness or confusion, those are signals to stop and eat. Fasting should feel manageable, not like a battle against your own body. The goal is not to push yourself to the limit. The goal is to find a fasting window that works sustainably for your body and your life. Now, I want to hear from you. How many hours are you currently fasting each day? 12 hours, 14, 16. Or are you still figuring out what works for you? Share your number in the comments below. And here is a question to consider. Some experts say you need at least 16 hours for real metabolic benefits. Others say 12 hours is already valuable. After seeing the science today, where do you stand on this debate? If this video helped you understand what is happening inside your body, when you fast, consider subscribing so you do not miss future videos that dive deep into the science behind health and metabolism. Your body is smarter than you think. It has mechanisms for fat-burning cellular cleaning and muscle protection that have been refined over hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. Now you know what those mechanisms are and when they activate. Use that knowledge to make the choice that is right for you.